Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the January 4th meeting of the Newmarket Town Council, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bless you. Yes.
And let me first just say Happy New Year to everyone. And we have one council member participating remotely. So I just need to ask Councillor Conley, was it impractical for you to attend in person this evening?
It was.
And is there anyone in the room with you?
No.
And is there any objection to Councillor Conley participating remotely this evening?
No.
Seeing none, we will move on to the rest of the agenda. And the first item that we have are is public forum. And seeing no one from the public here this evening, I will close public forum at 7:01. The next item that we have is the acceptance of minutes, and we have one item, and that's minutes from December 21st, 2022, and I would accept a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
I'll make a motion.
Councillor White and
I'll second.
And Councillor LaMattina. And I'm just going to say who, just because our recording secretary will be working from the transcript this evening. So, and you'll be calling the roll?
Yep.
Okay. So were there any questions or comments regarding the minutes?
I did. Maybe my mind is slipping here. There was a line in there, a pilot program on the 15-minute temporary parking during the winter band season has started.
No, we're still looking into it. It has not started, right?
A 15-minute?
Hold on, wait a minute. Look, can we answer his question first? I think that's the problem too. He needs to discuss.
I thought the discussion was about the 2 additional parking spots that were going to be created.
I know there was discussion about a trial period for a 15-minute spot near Crack Skull so people could run in and out.
Right.
I don't know if that's the discussion or it would be one spot.
Can I? What the minutes?
You need to. The chair needs to call you.
I did, and she called me, didn't you?
No.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I was just going to say that the minutes on, it does say that it has started.
Okay, so that's probably what needs to get changed. Yep.
No, Councillor Blackstone.
So let me read it, just to make sure. It says, a pilot program on the 15-minute temporary parking during winter band season has started.
That's not what was discussed.
Right. That statement doesn't make
No,
any sense.
we'll fix that.
So what was discussed was two spots next to Craig Skulls on Central Avenue for 15 minutes on a trial basis.
And that's possible. Yeah.
Right.
Last time you said it was happening. You were going to do it early
But
this
this
year.
right now, this is just regarding the minutes.
Oh, okay, right.
Were there any other changes or questions or comments? Seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Brayback.
Aye.
Council Matina.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Council Weinstein.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. The next item is the report of the town manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First item I wanted to discuss was the amendment to Historic Overlay District. As you know, at the December 7th meeting, which I attended, Town Council, we brought forward to the Council amendment proposed by Council Blackstone to the Historic Overlay District. After reviewing the procedure of adoption with the Community Development Director, we'd like to make the Council aware of the following. First, our ordinances do not allow the Council to amend the zoning ordinance without Planning Board review. Second, after the Seeing Town Council agreed to the matter, I've written the Planning Board asking them to act on the proposed amendment. Section 24-1 of the Town Municipal Code requires the following, and I won't have to read the whole thing. But I did want to bring this up, and this actually can go to the last statement too. There's been some confusion between staff and council on process and where it was. So I'm going to be enforcing anything through my office to follow council rules. We do too many times informal things like taking consensus, and we don't get clear guidance with a consensus. For example, I was even just writing this letter, and I couldn't tell you that, does the council support this, or is this a councilor's recommendation without a vote? So the council rules and the council in the charter states that a council only acts upon nomination ordinance resolutions as outlined in their rules. While it's going to slow things down, it's going to make it more accurate and official. And this isn't just my office, this is a lot of departments. Another example, the 15-minute parking. That should have gone through the Highway Safety Committee, then it goes to the police and the highway to determine that's okay, and then come to the council with a resolution or ordinance versus just an idea on the council to go that way. I think by trying to get things done so quickly, it's actually making the gumming up the works more. And I think we need to follow also the rules of the council when it comes to discussing matters. For example, minutes like the chair just did, the minutes are minutes. We need to raise our hands when discussing things. We follow the rules that way because it assists the minute taker. When everybody's talking at once, it's difficult for the minute taker to do it. And it's difficult for us to get clear guidance because we don't know what is the actual outcome. So I just ask that we start following the rules a little more. I know it breaks the informality, and it's sometimes it's better to try to get consensus than a vote up and down, but the formality is needed when we have to actually implement policy and get guidance from the council. You have to talk to the chair.
Oh, sorry. Councilor Littleton.
I'm a little confused how that might work. If somebody comes to me asking for something, can I bring it to the council and say, this should go to the highway department or whatever, and come from them? But can we not make a suggestion to the highway committee on what to do?
The council can.
So we would bring it to the council first, bring it here, and
And
discuss it, and say.
And then you can determine whether or not it probably in closing comments by councilors, and then discuss it and say we report in recommendation from the town manager or staff, and then we would determine where it goes. But that's the best way to do it, is get guidance from the council.
Councilor.
Yeah, I just have a follow-up question. What I'm hearing is closing comments is a time to potentially bring up new business that's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
That's helpful to know. Because I do, in my recollection of this conversation, I don't think it was necessarily intended to be breaking the rules. I think there was a confusion about, what is the rule if it's something that's not an existing resolution, but we can't write a resolution on this. I think it was unclear what the process was, and that's why it was brought up.
No, and as it's, Counselor, that any councilor can write a resolution. And bring one forward or ask for help, then we will do that. Perfect example, the Arts Commission asking to change its name. That came from a councilor. So that's the best way to do it is okay, hey, can you help with that, write a resolution, I want to do X, Y, Z. Okay, let's go through the process and find that out and how to do it. Actually, that's probably even cleaner because that's one council bringing the formal policy to the entire council. And even if, say, for example, the parking one, if one council wants to have a parking change, a resolution could be written asking for that change. Council gets it, says, you know what, we think this should go to the Highway Safety Committee before we vote on it. Goes there, they look at it, make a recommendation, and send it back to the council. That's what most procedures are with councils. They'll get the initial, a council recommends, staff writes something, council gets the first reading. That's why there's two readings also, because you get that break in between that has the committees can try to review it, and staff can review it, make comment, and then vote on it. So I think that's the problem when we just come up with something in a meeting is not written down, not formal, is that it gets lost sometimes in the week because we don't know, one, is it the action of the full council? Is it one councilor asking for it? It may not be even a majority. So that's why we're going to try to formalize this a little bit more. And especially with potentially new councils coming in April, we want to make sure we start off on the right foot.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Any other?
Yeah, so
Councilor Blackstone.
with the parking, the way that I contacted Bart and I talked to Bart about it.
But Bart has no oversight of that.
I'm just saying, I'm just telling you what I did.
Yeah.
I talked to Bart. Bart said he thought it was a good idea, and he would carry the ball on that, right? And so,
Yep.
I know he took it to your council, your whatever you call your meeting, with your people, and discussed it. And I know that various people talked about it. So that's not the way you want to do it anymore.
Well,
so you want I
let me-
want to
okay.
understand. So I want to do something,
Yep.
and so during comments I bring it to the board, or
There are two ways you can do it.
make a resolution to bring.
There are
it to
two ways you can do it. You can bring it up in closing by comments by councilors, which is probably the easiest because everyone's here. Everyone's going to get to hear the same thing at the same time. Then on the flip side, you can say, you know what, staff can come up with a resolution. We'll work with the council to get it done. Or you can send an email one-on-one. We can do it that way if it's something pressing.
Right. So
Oh,
excuse me.
let,
So
let me finish.
okay.
Then we introduce the resolution. The council then determines at the first reading whether or not they'd like it to go to committee or not, another committee to review. And then the vote at the second one.
Okay. So in the closing comments,
Mm-hmm.
we decide if it should be a resolution.
We could say, you know, I'd like to see a resolution to do X, Y, Z. You can introduce.
Could the council vote
No.
during a comment section?
No.
Right. That's not. So
That's not
nothing
possible.
can be resolved during
Nope.
the comment section. So all you could do is get a feel for whether
Yep.
a resolution would pass.
Not even that. No. All you're asking is a council could say, I'd like to see a resolution to make parking 2 hours on Main Street.
Well, that would kind of be a vote, though, right?
No. You're just saying I want a resolution introduced. One council is introducing it. It comes up to the next meeting for reading, and then it comes up to the following meeting for a vote.
Okay, so why would I say it during comments then?
So everybody knows,
Okay.
and you're directing staff. And that's the other part of that comment. The council has one staff member. And that's the town manager. Department heads go to me, and when they're getting requests from councilors, that they take that as that's the action of the full council. It may not be. So those requests should be coming through my office as well, because then I also have to determine, okay, is this from the full council, or is this one council's request? Is it already a policy set? So that's the other part too.
Councillor Ward.
Just to clarify, if we want to bring something up, we bring it up during closing comments. It's not a vote. It's just to, hey, this is something. We all get an idea of it, and then you and your staff will look into it. Or may
Yeah.
I?
You can even send me an email like Councilor Braybeck did. Hey, town manager, we want to amend the name of the Arts Commission. Do you mind if I write a resolution for this? Could you send me a thing? You know, you can even write a resolution.
Yeah. But the important part is that we need to send the email to you specifically, not anyone else. Closing comments
Right.
or you directly
Right.
is the way we get this.
And
done.
try not to have a vote or a consensus at a meeting,
Got it.
unless
Okay.
it's a resolution or ordinance or an appointment.
Good. Just wanted to clarify.
Okay. The next item, Councilor Matina, which I asked over the holidays, which I think is good for everybody to know because we're seeing a slight uptick in cases of flu. For an update on the efforts to test wastewater for strains of COVID, he asked for the following: can we do other things besides COVID, such as flu? And now that we're getting septage from other locations, can it be tested also and tested separately? And where are we getting septage from? Where we are getting septage from other locations, are we able to test Newmarket separately? The Environmental Service Director answered that the DES informed us that, as we know, the town has volunteered as part of its wastewater treated once a week for COVID. This testing program is funded by DES, and they hired a private lab to collect samples, perform tests, and distribute the results. In the past, we'd receive the results about a week after the samples were collected. DES now has taken over the entire program, and it's not a surprise, we've not been receiving the results from the state. He's going to work on getting results from DES. So yeah, when the state takes over, we don't get the info. When it was in the private hands, we get the info. He isn't aware of anybody testing for flu strains, but probably could happen, but at a substantial cost. Septage could be tested for COVID. It would be costly. At this point, we cannot separate septage from town wastewater. We will once the septage receiving facility is constructed. However, the amount of septage the town is receiving each week compared to the population of the town's wastewater plant serves is small. This would result in septic having a small impact. Believes this is the reason DES does not have anybody separate out the septic from its testing, just because of the number of individuals on sewer. Finally, the budget public hearing and town meeting. With the new year upon us, we're beginning to focus more on town meeting 2023. Budget public hearing will be Monday, January 9th at 6:30 here in Town Hall. After that, deliberative session will be on Saturday, February 4th, and elections March 14th. Both are in Town Hall auditorium. We're not sure what time the town's deliberative session will be because we are second this time. So we're just going to try to see what the school has on their agenda. That's all I have this meeting tonight.
Any other questions or comments from the town manager? Councillor Blackstone.
So, just from my information, in the last meeting, you stated that we were going to implement the 2 parking passes on a temporary trial basis.
I believe I said.
You said that, well, you can watch the TV.
Okay.
That's what you said. And that's what I heard you say.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make it clear. And I asked during the meeting when that would happen, and you said early next year, meaning early this year. Is that still the position?
My understanding, last I heard, was the police chief, public works director, and community development director are going to go out to determine where the line is, because we'll probably have to wait for some better weather to try to line it, as well as put up the signage.
Great.
So, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, I do have one comment. And I did want to publicly thank and congratulate the librarian who is resigning to go to Stratham. He's done a great job the last few years. I mean, coming in right before the pandemic and getting hit, and she really pivoted well to go to that, and really brought the library forward. So I just want to congratulate her. And I know they have an interim in place, so we're meeting with her.
Great. One quick question that I had about the public hearing on Monday.
Yep.
Is that for both town and school? Or
Yes.
Just, it is. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
Just to clarify one other thing, because I went through it. Our borrowing this year does not need a public hearing because it's anything in excess of $100,000. We're exactly $100,000, so it doesn't need one. So, because I was like, is it 101 or is it 99? So, we do not need one.
Excellent. And our next item, committee reports. Are there any committee reports? Councillor Baybeck.
Yes, well, the Arts and Tourism did not have an official committee meeting this month. They have been working on writing this really dynamic, like, strategic plan on arts, culture, and tourism. And there was some discussion about, is this the strategic plan for this committee? Is this the town's strategic plan regarding arts and tourism? And there's some interest from the committee in getting buy-in from the council in this strategic plan. So we just weren't quite sure, what does that mean? What does that look like? Do I bring it in as a resolution? Do they just come in and present it to us? But it's a really cool document, so I think it'd be great for everyone to hear.
If I may recommend a completely different avenue,
Please.
I would suggest the Arts Commission talk with the Community Development Director, because many communities have an arts chapter in their master plan. And that's probably a better way to go than having it just as a side of policy, but that they can put that in there, and it's more of a living document that'll be reviewed every so often.
Amazing. Should I reach directly out to that person or send it to you to send to?
You can, just CC me.
Okay,
Yeah, that's probably the easiest.
thanks.
Can I just ask a question? Does that
Please.
make it take longer? And
It may, but it's a more,
but
yeah.
longer in a reasonable amount of time?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm assuming so. I mean, my assumption would be also that the planning board would probably prefer another committee try to take on the arts and have an arts chapter of the master plan. They'd probably prefer another committee do it and come back to them. So it sounds like that maybe it may not if there's another committee's already doing it.
And if if I may
Yeah.
continue, I think I was also a little concerned about like, is this going to impact their ability to continue moving forward on projects that they're working on? And I don't think it would. You know, I think this is painting the picture about why and the longer term projects, but I think they can still continue working on things like the art panels going up at the library, the wall project, sliding in those other updates.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other committee reports?
Energy and Environment didn't meet the end of December, excuse me. More people were out sick again, so we're meeting twice this month, January 11th and the end of January. Hopefully, we can finalize the energy aggregation plan and present that to the council as just an FYI typical.
Great. Any other committee reports? Seeing none, we will move on. We have 3 resolutions tonight in the second reading, and the first is resolution 2022-2023-16. It's the thickener project award authorization for T-Buck construction, and I would accept a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Councillor Ward
I'll second.
and Councillor Lamatina. And we have Sean Gregg here to speak to the resolution.
This project's been going on for quite a while. The thickener is to improve operations at the wastewater treatment facility and to lower costs. We went out to bid. We received 3 bids, one from Apex Construction for $461,000, one from Penta Corporation for $444,000, and then the low bid was T-Buck for $410,441, which is within the budget. T-Buck, with their references, came back very well. They're a pretty good sized firm and do good work. So I recommend that the town council approve T-Buck for the work and authorize the town manager to enter into agreements to perform that work.
Are there any questions? Councillor White.
Just as a point of reference, just the resolution number, I'm sorry, I got the 2022, 2023 and what it is, but the number,
-16.
16, thank you very much.
Have we worked with T-Buck construction before?
We have not, but they've been in the wastewater airfield for quite a while.
Councillor Blackstone?
So, the thickener is a polymer, right, of some
No,
sort?
the thickener is a piece of equipment. We do use polymer within the process, but it is a piece of equipment.
Okay, but you add a polymer to the incoming stream to
Yes.
coagulate or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the equipment basically thickens up the solids.
Right, and so I just wanted, is there any PFAS in the polymer?
I'd have to go and look. I'd have to look. We use polymer. It's actually going to reduce the amount of polymer we're using. So we use a polymer on the Huber screw press.
Right.
And with the thickener, we're actually, because of it, we're going to be using less polymer. So if there is PFAS, we're actually reducing our PFAS.
Oh, so the thickener doesn't involve a polymer?
No, the thickener uses a polymer as well, but
Okay.
overall we'll be using less.
Right, right,
Yes.
because it comes in a lot thicker.
Yes.
Any other questions? Seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Brayback.
Aye.
Council Lamatina.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Conley.
Aye.
Council Weinstein.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
And the next item that we have is Resolution 2022-2023-26 issuance, authorizing the issuance of refunding a bond. And I would accept a motion to approve that resolution. Sorry.
I'll make a motion, Council Ward.
Thank you.
I'll second. Councilor Martina.
Thank you. And again, we have
Well,
Mr. Gregg here.
We, as everyone knows, we've been doing a lot of water projects, and we entered into an agreement with USDA Rural Development to fund it. It was a $6.819 million loan with $1.43 million grant. And how that works is we had to actually borrow the money for interim financing through TD Bank. And now, once we've spent the 6.8 million, we are able to take the loan out with rural development. So now what this is doing is rural development is going to give us the 6.819 million, and we're going to pay off TD Bank and enter into it's going to be about a 26-year loan to pay it off.
Any
And,
questions? Or, I'm sorry.
all right, just the one thing, and then this resolution was drawn up by bond counsel, and this is what we need to pass in order to enter in, to finalize that agreement.
Any questions? Seeing none, if you could call the roll.
Council Brebeck.
Aye.
Council Matina.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Connolly.
She's muted.
Aye.
Council Weinstein.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And lastly, we have resolution 2022-2023-27. It's the approval of the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Newmarket and New England Police Benevolent Association Local 215, and I would accept a resolution or a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll make that motion. Ward, Counselor?
Thank you.
Counselor Ward.
I'll second.
Counselor, thank you.
As we previously discussed, it's a 3-year agreement. The increases are $3.50 across the board for every member of the collective bargaining unit for the first year, and a 5% increase the last 2 years. There's a few other changes, such as an hour overtime differential for field training officers. Let me bring that up. My note. I'm sorry. There's going to be 1 hour overtime paid to a field training officer for each shift. They're providing training, and 1 hour shall be paid to communications training officer each shift. They're providing training as well. And there'll be an increase in the detail rates, but that's all passed off to the contracted individuals. There'll be if callbacks of hours, time worked exceeds 4 hours, the officer will be guaranteed 8 hours of pay for a private detail. Any detail exceeds 8 hours, they'll be compensated for time and a half of the rate. And finally, that was it. So, and the big one, as I said, was $3.50 per member of the collective bargaining unit, and the impacts the first year is $167,385, which is 17 cents on the tax rate.
Any questions or comments?
Just
Oh.
process-wise, I'll tell you. So what will happen if the council votes in favor? I'll sign a tentative agreement with the police collective bargaining unit. This will go on the ballot, and the voters will have a chance. If it fails, there's no agreement. If it passes, there's agreement starting July 1.
And where does this put us? I don't know if you have this information off the top of your head, but where does this put us in regards to other communities? Do you have a sense of that?
We'll be competitive, but I mean, there's a lot of places out there right now that are negotiating.
Right.
I gotta tell you, there was a large article about Kittery, Maine recently, I believe it was this weekend, that they're changing a lot of the way they, things they're offering, such as hours of employment, as well as pay, just because of the competition with the private sector. A lot of the private sectors now are working from home, or have more flex scheduling than we would be able to have, so they noticed they're having issues retaining individuals on their side. We're not quite there yet, because I think we've been already working somewhat. We've been working with employees not to be, help them out when needed. But if push came to shove, it's something we're all going to have to look at in the near future. That the way we worked before the pandemic is not the way we work now. So, I mean, it's not. Police departments aren't the same, but that's across the board.
And I imagine that, I mean, in addition to competing with private employers, which I imagine we can't really compete with
Yeah.
with private employers, we're competing with other police departments.
Absolutely.
In the Seacoast area, and in the Seacoast area being one of the more expensive, or the most expensive area to live in New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's interesting because everybody always, if you were to came in here 10 years ago and said, well, who you compare yourselves with for communities, you do population, and people would say, oh, you're the same as Franklin, or you're the same as Wyndham, or places like that around the state, but we don't. When we lose somebody, we either lose them to Dover, Portsmouth, Exeter. Those are our competition, and it's bigger communities around us who pay more, so that's what we have to compete with. The employment pool that's the area. I mean, luckily we're not a revolving door of trainees that we get somebody, they leave us to go somewhere else, which is common in a number of police departments in the Seacoast.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, if you could call the roll.
Council Brayback.
Aye.
Councilor Matino. Aye. Councilor White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Connolly.
Aye.
Council Weinstein.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
And again, it seemed like a pretty seamless process.
Yeah. I think we had 3 sessions,
It's good.
which from past and other communities, that would have been 20.
The next item that we have tonight is we have one appointment, and that is for Al Zink to serve on the ZBA, the zoning board, and that's with a term ending April 2025, and I would accept a motion to approve that application.
I'll make a motion to approve Al Zink for the zoning board.
Councilor Lamatina,
Second. Counselor
Councilor
White.
White. Any comments or questions? I will say just one thing, and that's that Mr. Zink has served on numerous boards, and he's been a member of the ZBA for 6 years, I think.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I know there's one term.
And he was a town councilor and on the school board, and has just been very involved. So I appreciate his continued service to the town. Seeing no other comments, if you call the roll, please.
Council Brayback.
Aye.
Councilor Matino. Aye. Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Connolly.
Aye.
Council Weinstein.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
And then the next item that we have one resolution in the first reading this evening, and that's Resolution 2022-2023-28, renaming the Ad Hoc Arts and Tourism Commission. Whereas the existing Ad Hoc Arts and Tourism Commission makes general recommendations and policies on an ongoing basis, and whereas arts and tourism are often directed at conflicting target audiences, residents or tourists, and whereas the term culture allows the commission to build a town culture where art is appreciated, encouraged, and recognized for its value to Newmarket community and commerce. Now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the established Ad Hoc Arts and Tourism Commission shall be called the Arts, Culture, and Tourism Commission. First reading January 4th, 2023. And was there any correspondence to the town council?
There was none.
And any closing comments? Seeing none, I will just say Happy New Year to everyone. And our next meeting is January 18th. We do have the budget committee meeting, or the budget hearing, on Monday. Monday's the 9th. Is that correct? Yes, Monday the 9th at 6:30. And I will consider us adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Councilor Conley.